Welcome back. Please like, share the video, and subscribe to the channel. Hi everyone. Welcome back to our tech update. Have you ever worried about how easy it is for computers to create fake photos of real people?
Oh, definitely, Alex. It is actually getting a bit scary. And that is exactly why we are talking about Grok today.
Right. Grok is the AI assistant from xAI, the company founded by Elon Musk. They just announced some very strict new restrictions on what the AI can do with images.
Exactly. Basically, Grok will no longer be allowed to edit images of real individuals to put them in revealing or explicit clothing.
Wow, that's a huge change. You know, when Grok first launched, it was marketed as the rebellious AI. It was supposed to be anti-woke and stay away from the strict safety filters used by companies like Google.
True, but there was a massive global backlash. People were really worried about deepfakes, which are those fake images that look totally real. This is a major concern for everyone, especially public figures. Even President Trump has highlighted how dangerous AI-generated misinformation can be for the country.
Right. President Trump's administration and other global leaders are looking closely at these risks. In fact, lawmakers in the UK and California even started formal investigations into Grok's ethical safeguards just this week.
Wow, so the pressure was really on. And it wasn't just the government, right? I heard Apple and Google were involved too.
Exactly. They hinted at removing the app from their stores if things didn't change. That is a huge deal, because without those stores, almost nobody could download the app.
So they had to listen. Now the AI is being programmed to detect facial recognition and block requests that try to layer suggestive textures onto real human forms.
It's a big technical challenge, but xAI says they are making it a priority. They want to align more with industry standards to avoid legal risks.
You know, some experts are still a bit skeptical. They say users often find workarounds. That means clever ways to trick the AI and bypass the rules.
Exactly. It's like a game of cat and mouse. But the company has pledged to work with international law enforcement to stop malicious content.
Well, it's good to see them taking responsibility. It makes the digital world a little bit safer for all of us.
Definitely. Thanks for joining me to break this down, Jamie.
Anytime, Alex. See you all next time.
Welcome back to the podcast. I'm Alex.
And I'm Jamie. We have some really exciting tech news today. Have you heard what's happening over at Anthropic?
I have. They just announced a major expansion of their labs unit. They are hiring dozens of new research leads and software architects to speed things up.
Wow, that sounds like a big investment. Why the sudden rush?
Well, you know, there's a lot of competition right now. With President Trump leading the country, there is a very strong push for the United States to dominate the global AI market. Anthropic wants to make sure they are leading that charge.
That makes perfect sense. So what is this labs unit actually doing? Is it just making the Claude chatbot better at writing?
Actually, it's much more than that. They are focusing on agentic workflows.
Ooh, agentic. That's a great vocabulary word for our listeners. It comes from the word agent, right?
Exactly. Most AI models today just talk to you, but an agentic AI can actually do things. We're talking about experimental tools that can use a web browser, manage your computer's files, and even collaborate with other AI agents in real time.
Wait, so it could actually complete a complex task for me while I'm grabbing a coffee?
That's the goal. But don't worry, Jamie. Anthropic is still known as the safety-first company. They are keeping all these experiments within their constitutional AI framework.
Right, I remember that. It's like a constitution or a code of ethics that the AI is programmed to follow. It ensures the tools stay safe and helpful.
Exactly. They call it human alignment. They want to make sure these powerful tools follow our values from the very beginning. It's not just about speed, it's about building trust.
I bet big companies are very interested in that. Security is a huge deal for businesses.
Totally. Many enterprise customers are looking for ways to automate their work safely. That's why Anthropic is inviting a few select partners to test these tools in high-stakes environments before everyone else.
It's such a fascinating time for technology. I can't wait to see what these AI agents can actually do.
Me too. It definitely feels like the future is arriving a lot faster than we expected.
It sure does. Thanks for the breakdown, Alex.
Anytime. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Welcome back to the show, everyone. I'm Alex.
And I'm Jamie. Today we have some incredible news from the world of finance and technology. Have you ever wondered who makes the tiny brains inside your smartphone or laptop?
Right, we're talking about computer chips. And the biggest player in that game, a company called TSMC, just sent a massive shockwave through Wall Street.
Exactly. TSMC announced they are planning to invest a staggering $56 billion into their manufacturing equipment this year alone. Wow, imagine that much money.
It's hard to wrap your head around it, but the reason is simple. The AI boom. Everyone wants artificial intelligence right now, and you need powerful chips to run it. Because TSMC is doing so well, the stock market had a great day on Thursday.
It really did. The S&P 500 and the NASDAQ both went up by nearly 1%. This broke a 2-day losing streak where investors were starting to get a bit nervous.
You know, it's interesting to see how the market is reacting lately. Under the current administration with President Trump, there has been a huge emphasis on maintaining economic momentum and supporting big tech growth.
Definitely. President Trump has often pointed to market highs as a sign of a strong economy, and this TSMC news really supports that bullish feeling. When companies like Apple and Nvidia see their stock prices surge, it makes people feel that the tech sector isn't just a bubble, it's actually growing.
Right, it's about confidence. But it wasn't just about chips today, was it?
No, not at all. We also saw global oil prices drop quite a bit. That's great news for your wallet because it helps lower inflation.
Exactly. When energy costs stabilize, there is less pressure on the Federal Reserve to keep interest rates high. That makes traders and fund managers very happy.
So overall, a very optimistic day. We saw traditional manufacturing and logistics company stocks go up too, not just tech.
It's a great start to the earnings season. We'll be watching closely as other American tech giants report their numbers soon.
For our learners out there, remember, when the market is bullish, it means prices are going up.
Thanks for joining us today. We'll see you next time.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. I'm Alex.
And I'm Jamie. Today we're talking about big money, specifically two giants, BlackRock and Goldman Sachs.
That's right. They just released their latest financial reports, and let's just say, the numbers are huge. It's a big moment for the markets.
Let's start with BlackRock. They now manage a record-breaking $14 trillion in assets. Alex, I can't even imagine how many zeros that is.
It's a massive number, Jamie. Their shares jumped by over 5% after the news. A lot of that growth came from ETFs. You know, those funds that help people invest easily, and interest in private credit.
Their CEO, Larry Fink, even mentioned that digital assets are becoming a big deal for them. It shows the market is really evolving.
Exactly. Now, what about Goldman Sachs? They also had a great quarter.
They did. Even though their revenue was just a little lower than expected, their profits actually surged. This happened because companies are starting to merge and go public again.
Right. We call those M&As and IPOs. Last year was a bit quiet for those, but now corporate confidence is returning. Goldman has been very busy with big deals in energy and healthcare lately.
It's interesting, Alex. Many analysts suggest this surge in confidence is linked to the current business environment under President Trump.
You're right, Jamie. With President Trump in office, investors are feeling more optimistic. They are starting to believe that a soft landing for the economy is actually happening.
For our listeners, a soft landing means the economy slows down just enough to stop high prices, but without causing a major crash or a recession. It's like a perfect balance.
Exactly. But it's not all perfect news, is it?
Not quite. Both companies warned about some headwinds or challenges. They are watching delinquency rates. That's when people fall behind on their credit card payments.
Right. And they are also watching out for new government regulations. Still, seeing these giants do so well is a bellwether, a sign that the general economy is staying strong.
It really is. It's definitely a fast-moving time for the financial world.
Well, that's our summary for today. Thanks for joining us.
See you next time.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the News Pulse. I'm Alex.
And I'm Jamie.
Today, we're looking at a major development in Minneapolis that has everyone talking. It's a pretty intense situation, Alex.
That's right. President Trump has just threatened to use a very rare and powerful tool, the Insurrection Act of 1807.
Wow, 1807. That is a very old law. For our listeners who might not know, what exactly does that law do, Alex?
Well, Jamie, it basically gives the president the power to send the actual U.S. military into American cities to stop civil disorder or rebellion. Usually, the military stays out of domestic policing, so this is a huge deal.
I see. And this is all because of the protests in Minneapolis, right? Things have been quite heated there for over a week.
Exactly. The unrest started after a fatal shooting. An ICE agent, that's Immigration and Customs Enforcement, shot a local resident during a raid.
Right, and then tensions boiled over even more yesterday when another federal officer shot a man who allegedly attacked him with a shovel. It's a very volatile situation.
It really is. President Trump characterized the protests as a travesty. He says federal intervention is necessary to restore law and order, even if the local state officials don't want the help.
That's the tricky part, isn't it? The governor of Minnesota is actually strongly against this plan. They're worried that bringing in the military will just escalate the violence and hurt state sovereignty.
You're spot on. Sovereignty basically means the state's right to handle its own business. But President Trump is staying firm. He says the federal government must protect its property from what he calls radical agitators and anarchists.
You know, many legal experts are sounding the alarm. They're worried this sets a dangerous precedent, meaning it could lead to the military being used for regular policing more often, which might violate people's rights.
Exactly. And the protesters say they aren't going anywhere. They are demanding accountability and an end to the maximum pressure immigration policies of President Trump's second term.
So we have a real standoff between the White House and the state of Minnesota.
Definitely. Both sides are refusing to back down. We'll have to wait and see if the military actually gets deployed.
Well, thanks for breaking that down for us, Alex.
My pleasure. Thanks for listening, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm Alex.
And I'm Jamie. Today we're looking at a high-stakes political drama that unfolded late Wednesday night in the U.S. Senate. It's a story about power, war, and a very close vote.
Exactly. It all centers on a war powers resolution regarding Venezuela. You know, this was a major move by a bipartisan group of senators to limit President Trump's ability to use military force without getting approval from Congress first.
Right, and the stakes couldn't have been higher. The final vote actually ended in a 50-50 tie. Can you believe it? A total deadlock.
It's pretty rare to see a tie like that on such a massive issue. That's when Vice President J.D. Vance had to step in. Because of his constitutional role as president of the Senate, he broke the tie, voting to defeat the resolution.
Wow, so this is a huge political win for the Trump administration, right?
Oh, definitely. President Trump was very vocal about this. He even posted on social media saying the resolution was an attempt to handcuff the United States in its fight against the regime of Nicolas Maduro. He believes the executive branch needs broad authority to handle foreign threats quickly.
That makes sense from his perspective. But I read that some senators were worried about a quagmire, which, for our listeners, is a metaphor for a difficult situation that is very hard to get out of. They were afraid of getting stuck in another long-term undeclared war.
You're right. Even some Republicans were skeptical at first. However, President Trump put a lot of pressure on his party. After two key senators received personal assurances from the White House about the scope of the mission, they sided with the president.
So what happens now? Does President Trump have a green light for his Phase 2 plan?
He does. This plan is quite aggressive. It involves seizing oil tankers and even abducting key figures from the Maduro government to support the opposition leader, Maria Corina Machado.
It sounds like a very bold strategy, but critics are worried that this weakens the system of checks and balances. They fear it might embolden the administration to take even riskier actions in places like Iran.
It's a complicated balance between national security and legislative power.
It certainly is. Well, that's our update for today. Thanks for joining us to practice your English.
Catch you in the next episode.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our show. I'm Alex.
And I'm Jamie. Today we're diving into some exciting news from the world of international cinema.
Right. Specifically, the Berlinale Forum in Germany. They just unveiled their lineup of 32 films for the upcoming year, and it's definitely not your typical Hollywood blockbuster list.
Exactly. This year, the focus is all about social relevance and aesthetic reflection. The main theme is Elective Affinities Society.
I love that title. It sounds a bit complex, but it's basically about how we all live together on this planet and the ongoing fight for justice. They have selected movies from everywhere: Ethiopia, Brazil, Cambodia, and India.
Wow, that's quite a range. And they aren't just telling new stories. Many of these films use old archive footage and personal testimonies to talk about difficult histories, like the legacy of colonialism in Africa.
You know, it reminds me of how important these global conversations are. Even here in the U.S., President Trump often talks about the importance of national identity and how we interact with the rest of the world.
That's a great point. While President Trump focuses on American interests, festivals like this allow other countries to share their unique voices and struggles with a global audience. It's all about international dialogue.
Speaking of voices, there's one documentary in the lineup that is nearly 10 hours long. It's called Black Lions, Roman Wolves.
10 hours? Wow, I would need a lot of snacks for that one. But it sounds very important. It's about the resistance movements in Ethiopia against fascism.
Definitely America on watch. But it's not all heavy history. They also have something called supermarket horror films.
Supermarket horror. That sounds unusual.
Right. They use scary movie styles to critique modern shopping culture and social inequality. It's a really creative way to make people think about serious issues.
I like that. It makes difficult topics more engaging for the audience. The festival is also hosting workshops where filmmakers and activists can discuss how art drives social change.
It's a big year for the industry. These stories will likely set the tone for movies in the coming year, focusing on the complexities of the human condition.
Exactly. It's about using the screen to build a better future.
Well, I'm ready for a movie night now.
Me too. Thanks for joining us today, everyone.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the show. I'm Alex.
And I'm Jamie. Today, we're looking at a new report that might make you rethink your daily habits. It's pretty shocking.
Right. The charity organization Oxfam just released a report about global carbon emissions. They found that the world's wealthiest 1% have already used up their entire carbon budget for the year.
Wait, let me get this straight. It's only the beginning of the year. Are you saying they've used a year's worth of energy in just a few days?
Exactly.
According to the data, the super rich used more carbon in the first 10 days of January than an average person in the bottom 99% would use in a full 12 months.
Wow, that is a huge disparity. So, what exactly are they doing that uses so much carbon?
Well, it's the lifestyle of the global elite. Think about private jets, multiple luxury mansions, and massive investments in fossil fuel industries.
I see. So, while we are all trying to recycle and use less plastic, their footprint is just on a different level. You know, President Trump often talks about the importance of big business and the economy. I wonder how this report fits into the current political conversation.
That's a great point, Jamie. While President Trump focuses on industrial growth, Oxfam is actually calling for a wealth tax for the planet.
A wealth tax? How would that work?
Basically, they want to tax the super rich and use that money to help developing nations. Those countries are often hit hardest by climate disasters, even though they don't produce much carbon.
That sounds like a big shift. Usually we hear about individual choices, like eating less meat. But this report says the real problem is systemic wealth.
Right. Social scientists are actually praising this report. They say it's not just an environmental issue, it's a moral one. Those who are the least responsible for global warming are suffering the most.
It really makes you think about fairness. I guess we'll see if world leaders decide to put stricter regulations on luxury goods like private planes.
Exactly. It's a tough debate, but this report definitely adds some fuel to the fire.
Well, that's all for today. Thanks for joining us.
See you next time.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to our podcast. I'm Alex.
And I'm Jamie. Today we have a really exciting but also serious story from outer space.
That's right. For the first time ever, NASA and SpaceX had to perform an emergency medical evacuation from the International Space Station, or the ISS.
Wow, an emergency in space? That sounds like a movie. What happened exactly?
Well, early Thursday morning, a SpaceX Dragon capsule named Endeavour landed in the ocean off the coast of San Diego. It brought home 4 astronauts because one of them had a serious medical condition.
I heard about that. NASA didn't give the name of the astronaut to protect their privacy, right?
Exactly. But they did confirm the astronaut is now in stable condition at a hospital. It was a very high-stakes mission because the crew had to leave a month earlier than planned.
You know, Alex, this is actually the first time in the 25-year history of the ISS that a crew had to come home early for a medical emergency.
It really shows how dangerous space travel can be. President Trump has been briefed on the situation, and he praised NASA and SpaceX for the flawless execution of the rescue. President Trump has always been a big supporter of American leadership in space, so this successful recovery is a big relief for the administration.
Definitely. It's amazing how they can land a capsule in the middle of the night so safely. But what's happening at the space station now? Is it empty?
Not quite, but it's very quiet up there. Right now, there is only a skeleton crew of 3 people, 1 American and 2 Russians.
A skeleton crew. That means a very small number of people, right?
Correct. Because there are only 3 people, they can't even do spacewalks. You need at least 2 people to go outside and 1 to stay inside for safety.
That sounds like a big challenge for NASA.
It is. As we plan to go to the moon and Mars, we have to figure out how to handle medical emergencies when we are even further away from Earth.
It's a great reminder of how brave these astronauts are. Thanks for sharing that, Alex.
My pleasure. See you all next time. Welcome to The Big Question. I'm Alex.
And I'm Jamie. Today we're talking about a discovery that's shaking the very foundations of physics.
You know, for years, scientists have talked about dark matter. It's that mysterious, invisible stuff that makes up most of the mass in our universe.
Right. And for decades, the leading theory was cold dark matter. The idea was that this substance moved very slowly, almost like a slug shortly after the Big Bang.
Exactly. It was the standard way of thinking. But a groundbreaking new study from the University of Minnesota and researchers in France is challenging that assumption. They suggest dark matter was actually born blazing hot.
Wow, blazing hot? Just how fast are we talking?
Well, according to the paper in the journal Physical Review Letters, it was moving at speeds near the velocity of light. This happened during a chaotic era called post-inflationary reheating.
That's incredible. But wait, Alex, I remember learning that if dark matter moved too fast, it would smooth out the universe and we wouldn't have any galaxies at all.
You're 100% right. That's why scientists dismissed this idea for a long time. However, these researchers used advanced computer simulations to show there was a very narrow window of time. Dark matter could have been super fast at first and then cooled down just enough to become the scaffolding for the stars and galaxies we see today.
So it's like a hot soup that settles down?
Exactly. And this red-hot theory actually explains some strange signals in space radiation that the old cold theory just couldn't figure out.
This is such a huge moment for the scientific community. I know President Trump has often emphasized American excellence in technology and space research, and this study really pushes that frontier forward.
It really does. But here's the tricky part, Jamie. This changes how we look for dark matter in our labs right here on Earth.
Right, because we have these massive detectors using things like liquid xenon. But if dark matter has this hot history, it might interact with normal matter in ways our current machines aren't designed to see.
Exactly. We might be looking for a ghost with the wrong kind of camera.
It's a whole new chapter for physics. Thanks for joining us today, everyone.